So you're joining us for the Scratch Sport and Formula 1 Fancast podcast link-up at the F1inPubs. We're here in the Apres Bar, I think it's pronounced Apres Bar, in Birmingham, currently watching the formation lap of the Bahrain Grand Prix, which I'm glad to say has been event-free so far, and you know what kind of events I mean. But yes, hello, my name is Paul Hadzi. I'm joined by Manish Patel and Andrew Miller. We've just got a quick time to talk now about our predictions for the race. Who shall I go left or right? I'll go to my left and talk to hello, Andrew Miller.
Hi.
Quickly, what do you think is going to happen in this race? No pressure, but can you keep it under about 20 seconds?
Well, I think it's going to be good because I'm watching the race with a pint.
Nice. It is a good
and
race.
I think that it's going to be Sebastian Vettel whitewash.
Okay, fair enough. And Manish, what do you think?
I think a lot's been said about tyre management. Drivers need to look after their tyres well. I expect Red Bull and McLaren to be right up there at the front. I'm going to go for a Lewis Hamilton win. I think Lewis can do it this time round.
Lewis from second on the grid. I think. Can Webber start? If Webber can make a start, no, that's a silly thing to say. I want to make something. Let's go for Button. He's good.
Again, F1 is if backwards.
Thanks, Miller. Let's go for. Then Jenson Button. If it's a tyre management race, he could come through from 4.
I'm actually going to change my prediction. I think Felipe Massa's going to lap everybody in the field because he's the best Ferrari driver there's been.
Right, okay, shot of Charlie Whiting now. We are about to take the start. We'll get some atmosphere and then we'll come back with you with our opinions on the race. Thank you, Scratch Radio, for making this happen. Thank you, F1inPubs. Oh, I know. You wanders in within 5 minutes of the start. You're basically the commentators like Ben Edwards or David Croft. You just turn up at the start, you've disappeared like 5 minutes after the end. Right, the cars are on the grid. We're about to take a start. And there's football on. I'm getting a sense of the atmosphere. We're in the Apres Bar. It's a great little bar. We should come here more often, I think. Right, here we go. Here we go then. It's time for the start of the 2012 Bahrain Grand Prix. As the red lights come on and I'm about to go off now. Right, we've just seen a very exciting, from my point of view, but controversial apparently, incident between Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg. A frustrated Lewis Hamilton took to the grass, the gravel, the dust, the sand. That's my overtaking. Go on, Button, get by. Go on, Button. I'm just going to distract myself while overtaking happens. But yes, Lewis Hamilton took to the sand to overtake Nico Rosberg after a botched pit stop. Lewis is driving angry this weekend and he's coming up behind Alonso, so that should be fun. An angry Lewis Hamilton behind Fernando Alonso. But do we think Lewis Hamilton should be penalised, will be penalised for that move on Rosberg, Miller?
It was fun, but he should be penalised.
Is that because you like Lewis Hamilton, because you actually agree? It's because you don't like Lewis Hamilton? Or?
It's because I don't. Well, it's got nothing to do with that.
No? You actually think that was a move worth penalising? Overtaking?
No, I don't think it was a move worth penalising, but I think they will penalise it.
That's it. That's exactly my thoughts. Manish?
I think the fact that Hamilton overtook Rosberg, not on the racing line, it was off track, and Hamilton went to the stewards so many times last year. I hate to say, but I think Hamilton will get penalised.
Do you think he should be penalised?
I'm not sure.
Force India. Force India's on TV, but yeah, do you reckon that... So you come on off the fence, you and your podcasting.
I do think he will get penalised. I do think he will.
That's not what I asked, politician. Do you think he should be penalised?
You put me on the spot, aren't you?
Yes. That's what makes it fun.
I think he should get penalised.
Oh, there we go.
I think he should.
Why?
Just the fact he overtook him not on the race line, off the track.
But surely some of the best moves in history. That reminded me a lot of when Mansell overtook Senna in Hungary with that back marker in the Ferrari. Remember that classic move? I think he was over the white line then. I'll have to go back and check that to back myself up. I'm in the heat of the moment here. Don't attack me, YouTube commenters. But yeah. See, I think it's a great move, and it didn't endanger anyone, and the track is made that wide for a reason. So I think it should be allowed, but I expect there to be a penalty because the FIA like penalising fun. We'll see what happens. Bahrain Grand Prix. Kimi Raikkonen in the Lotus is catching the Red Bull of Sebastian Vettel. So This is exciting. It's a bit Perez and Alonso from a couple of races ago. Underdog versus champion. Mind you, Kimi's a champion himself. It is on. So, predictions, guys. I like in this prediction thing. Can Kimi do it? I think, why not? I want him to do it, but can he? No. I want him to more than anything, but this is Red Bull. They'll probably just go in the pits and change tyres or something. Miller, do you think he can do it? No, Miller's not. Miller, come here. Do you think Miller can win? Do you think Kimi Räikkönen can win? Do you think Kimi Räikkönen's going to pass Vettel, or either in pits or on track?
I couldn't possibly say, but it's very exciting either way.
Again, a race that's going to go down to the wire. Manish, what are your predictions?
Well, based on what we're seeing, Räikkönen's closing Vettel down very quickly, and I think Räikkönen can get past him.
Oh, I hope so. I hope so.
Räikkönen's certainly shown some good pace this weekend. Today.
Yeah? Well, again, it's the case of the people who don't get in quali 3 are doing well. Better than those who do. Come on, Kimi. Kimi, take the lead, please. That's a battle for the lead. This is a battle for the lead. Look how close they are.
Wow, we're actually having a battle for the lead in F1.
I like that. Go now, Kimi. Get close. Press that KERS button. He saved his KERS, look. We're both going to press it now.
This is it.
You've got the DOS. Go on, but no. Oh, no, yes. That is good enough. Go on, Kimi. Oh! Come on, Kimi, you can do this. Press all your buttons. So we're getting towards the end of the race now. Last 2 laps, despite an exciting flurry. Sadly, Kimi Räikkönen did not get past Sebastian Vettel, which is a shame. But quickly, thoughts on the race, Miller?
Seen better, seen worse.
Yeah, it was the opposite of China, I think. It started great and it fizzled out, rather than the slow burner as China was.
Yeah.
Man of the race?
I'm going to say one of the Lotuses. I don't know whether to say Räikkönen or Grosjean. They both performed very well today, and I think that's probably it.
Oh, Jenson Button's breaking down as we do this. Yeah, but bogey team of the meet.
When he went in for that pit stop anyway.
Yeah. Oh dear. Jenson Button having a meal of an afternoon, as Martin Blundell might say. Let's have a listen if he says that. No. Manish? Review of the race, what do you think?
Well, you perfectly summed it up earlier. Great start, but fizzled out. I think Vettel will win the race now by the looks of it, but he has been made to work hard for it by Kimi, and I think Kimi can be very happy, very proud. I think Lotus can as well. I mean, finishing second and third looks like it. A good strong result for Lotus, and also just a quick mention for Force India's Paul Di Resta. I think he's done a good job. He's been able to make his 2-stop strategy work, whereas others have been made 3 stops. So well done to Paul.
Yeah, I am a fan of the alternate strategy. It used to be Kobayashi was the one car on the grid that was doing different to everyone else, but Paul Di Resta's the one car now on the grid that doesn't follow the herd, there's lots of sheep thinking in Formula 1, lots of just doing what everyone else does, but I'm glad Paul Di Resta has the mental capacity and the bravery to not follow the crowd in that respect, so good on him. It's been a terrible afternoon for McLaren, pit stops again being an issue, and now reliability is about the only third car to retire, and it's the first race winning Jenson Button, so not the greatest McLaren day. Maybe they're waiting for hotter climates, who knows, but Red Bull are finally back. It feels like a 2011 race again, but the story of the race surely is with the Lotuses and Kimi and Romain, who pushed Red Bull. Same engines, but different chassis, and that's the man of the race. He's got to be Kimi for me. Ice creams all round. So well done to Kimi Räikkönen. It's a great. I'm so glad he's back in the sport. And up yours, Michael, because you know that's what someone can do after a short layoff. They can challenge for victories. As you can hear, Red Bull and Sebastian Vettel have won. I'm saying we are here in the F1inPubs Apres Bar in Birmingham. Follow at F1inPubs on Twitter for your... This is not me, I'm not part of it. And he's pulling straight off, that's interesting. That's not... Are you allowed to do that? You don't have to do a victory lap, do you? No, there's nothing against that. Oh, Jackie Stewart's there. But yes, we have been here in the pub. Sounds like Sebastian Vettel victory is a popular one. And so this has been Paul Hadsley for Scratch Sport, summing up. There'll be we'll be now moving on to our F1 forum, so if you fancy coming down to a pub and enjoying the race over a glass or two, then please come down. This has been Paul Hadsley, Scratch Sport, with Andrew Miller, Manish Patel, and the Formula 1 Grand Prix of Bahrain. Right then, we've just enjoyed, an interesting Bahrain Grand Prix. Probably wasn't the best of the season so far, but we can debate that later. Let's get the facts out first. My name's Paul Hadsley. I'm here representing Scratch Sport at the F1inPubs meeting at Apres Bar in Birmingham. And I'm here with Manish Patel. Hello, Manish. And what brings you here today?
Just come here to sample the atmosphere and see what it's like. It's actually the first time I've come here to Apres Bar.
Who are you reporting for? Come on. Professional credentials, please.
I'm representing Formula 1 Fancast. Been with them for a couple of years now. Really enjoyed it, and been producing various podcasts for the company.
For the company? I thought it was just you. Is it not you?
No, it's me, other professionals as well.
Professional as well, would you know? Okay. So that's good. Good to know credentials. And here we are, I say the leader of our chapter. Like it's, I'm just going to, hang on. I'm a bit loud. Okay, leader of our chapter here we are with the leader of our chapter of, just to explain to those who don't know about the initiative of Formula 1 in pubs, it was a national meeting that I couldn't attend sadly because it was crazily down south. But there was a national meeting where you could put yourself forward to nominate yourself as a representative for your area, and luckily Peter, what's your surname, Peter? Hello?
Peter Coleman.
Peter Goldman nominated himself as our Birmingham representative for Formula 1 fans to come and socialise together and watch Formula 1 in pubs. And can you just talk us through your motivation and what brought you to this, what brought you here to this very moment indeed?
Sure. Well, it originally started when the whole BBC Sky thing happened, and I slowly realised that if I was going to get to watch Formula 1 during 2012, I was going to have to pay extra for the privilege, and my particular Virgin Media subscription means I was going to have to pay £28 extra to get all of the Sky Sports channels, and taking aside any prejudices I have against Sky as a corporation anyway, I thought I'm not going to use that. So I'd heard already about the Formula 1 in pubs idea, and inquired if anybody had stepped up to do Birmingham yet, and it kind of went from there. I think it's something which I first did in 2010. I attended a race in San Francisco, Formula 1 race, the Japanese Grand Prix.
Time difference.
Huge. Absolutely in the dead of night. But it was great. It was just a bar you could walk into, totally free, support the bar, buy some drinks, and great atmosphere, and great to watch a race that we're also used to sitting down in front of the TV on our own, watching the race and enjoying it. But it adds an extra dimension when you're with a big crowd.
Yes. That's probably why tweeting is so popular at the moment when it comes to Formula 1. But what particularly brought you to this location, Apres Bar? Because there's many locations with TVs and Sky Sports subscriptions. Was there any particular reason you chose this one?
They were very, very enthusiastic from the start. I sent around a number of notes to various pubs that I knew for a fact had Sky as a matter of course. Yeah. That was the big obstacle that anyone without a pub Sky subscription would have to overcome. And they were very, very positive. I met with them, and straight away they had the full race calendar out for 2012, and they said, what do you need?
Are there any clashes? That's what I'm wondering about. Football, mainly.
Not really. I mean, the great thing is we're upstairs in the bar today, so we've got our own little section. And it's been Everton versus Manchester United downstairs. And they've been happily getting on with that. So there's two very happy groups of people here today.
The crass mention of that by the commentator on Sky, I noticed, shoehorning that in, took me back to the James Allen era, but didn't look like that. But but actually you're turning now to what we're all here for, actually. That's today's race, the Bahrain Grand Prix. What do we think? I've got my opinions, but I guess as question master, I've took the wrong role because I've got lots to say and I have to ask other people. So as a third person here, we should introduce. I've forgotten your name already because it's Meds, and what's that mean? Hello?
Hello, my name's Simon Meddings. I'm a fellow podcaster. I do Waffle On Podcast.
Nice. He's got an advert in already.
I do, yeah, well, that's what we do.
Great. Follow Scratch Radio's
Yes, we'll do
Twitter, and we'll follow you.
Yeah. One for egotistical reasons, just to hear myself on there. But,
you have to wait till Saturday. Anyway, we'll cut this. Anyway, yes, so there's 4 people around the table at the moment. I'm hoping to grab some people before they leave. Maybe you can wave at people and be my I'll be Martin Brother, you be the Crown Prince, if you could, Peter. Great, so today's Grand Prix, Bahrain Grand Prix. We'll talk about the race first, obviously. What do we think? I'm going to go to Manish first because he's been quiet for a bit. So Manish, what do you think about today's race?
You know what? I thought it was a decent Grand Prix. And, when you consider the fact that previous Bahrain Grand Prix there hasn't been many overtaking manoeuvres, I think this time round we saw a lot of overtaking, mainly down to the curves and DRS, but we did see some good moves. Obviously the tyres played their part as usual in warmer conditions compared to when we were in China.
That was something I was going to say actually, sorry to interrupt, I'm doing what I shouldn't do. But yeah, that's what I was wondering. There was a threat of rain before the race and it's not the hottest Bahrain Grand Prix we've seen. Is this topsy-turvy order we're seeing, and I invite everyone to comment on this, but is this topsy-turvy order we're seeing because we've had unseasonably low temperatures at the start of the race, and will things change as we get towards the hotter Spanish Grand Prix such in 3 weeks' time?
I think we have to wait and see. I think obviously Vettel, we know he's good, especially in the warmer conditions, and this track suits Red Bull, and we saw that even in 2010 as well. Yeah. If you remember correctly, Vettel was winning, and until he had his problems, Vettel was out in front, and only Ferrari then kept wanting to win the race. I think obviously it's great to see 4 different winners in 4 races. Neutral can't ask for any better than that, and it'll be interesting to see what upgrades teams will bring to Spain to start the European season, especially Ferrari. They've had a dismal start, let's be honest.
Oh yeah, but at least for their underachieving, they're now the underdogs, and whatever place they finish seems like an improvement this year. But someone like McLaren, who won the first race, have gone backwards. Everything they do seems to be a detritus, for want of a better word, because it's on the top of my tongue. But yes, but of course Sebastian Vettel won the race today, but second and third was the Lotus team. Thoughts on that? Would you call them your team of the race? Peter, go to you.
I mean, say what you like about Lotus as a brand, as an entity, but the team that was Benetton, then was Renault.
Mr. History.
It's always been a team that's been there or thereabouts, and always has the capability of winning races. And it's not too far back in their history that they were able to do that with Alonso. Only a few years back, they were able to salvage a few races at the end of 2009. Yeah. They got the Singapore and the Japanese races.
And no safety car in sight.
Out of nothing.
No crashing teammates.
Exactly. So they do have that race-winning pedigree, even though they've been rebranded. And I think they've employed some really good engineering solutions there. And it's great to see. But the funny thing is that when you have people like Schumacher and now Hamilton forced down the field, what they could do in the last couple of seasons was push their way back through and end up somewhere near the front. It's just so close now. The tiniest mistake will cost people places, and that's why Lotus ended up where they were.
Yeah, that's true.
And just once you're 13th or so, there's no real chance of getting back up unless you've got a massive performance advantage, and it just makes for great close racing.
That's true, because I can imagine back in the what I call now the blight of the refuelling era, the gap between first and second could have been 17 seconds, and Lewis Hamilton lost 17 seconds today and ended up, when did he end up? 8th now or something crazy? Was it 7th or 8th? Well,
we're seeing as well, it's not only tight at the front, but also within the midfield as well. You look at how tightly congested they are. You look at Sauber in Malaysia, Perez finished second, and today Raikkonen and Grosjean finishing second.
Exactly what happened to Raikkonen and Lotus last weekend. They just disappeared, and this is an amazingly topsy-turvy season we're enjoying. But the Bahrain Grand Prix itself wasn't without incident, and there's still news to come, which I'm sure in the live section I'll be reviewing, and probably already have, in this sort of temporal schism I'm stuck in. But anyway, there was 2 moves, focusing mainly around Nico Rosberg, about Lewis Hamilton overtook him with all 4 wheels off the track, and then Fernando Alonso tried to attack him in a similar manner and didn't quite get it. But aggressive blocking by Nico Rosberg. I'm going to you because you haven't talked. Meds, Mr. Podcast, that's your nickname now. What do we think about the penalties? Do we reckon they should be investigated? Should they be penalised? And I think a different question is, will they be penalised? Because I think there's always a schism between that and the FIA, between what fans think should be penalised and is penalised.
I don't know. I mean, from a personal point of view, I don't I don't think there should be any kind of penalty going on with that take there, because the race is a race at the end of the day. You've got to have a little bit of aggravation going on there when you're doing Formula One. Otherwise, it does become boring. And the last thing we want is Formula One has unfortunately always been dogged with a fairly boring tag. People always do turn around and say, oh, it's just people going around in circles. A little bit of aggravated race, as long as it's not stupidity. Yeah. I think it should always be taken into case. I don't think it was that bad at all. In fact, we was watching it, and we was quite amazed when we saw the subtitle came up at the bottom of the screen. Now, in fact, I think Vicky, who was sitting with us at a table, turned around and said, it looks like they'll have to Hamilton again. Yeah. And I think, of course, then later on there was another, as you said, there's another report going to come in. I don't know. I think it's just let it go. Really, I think
it's the thing that I noticed. I said when that happened, you know what? I bet that gets a penalty, and no one else seemed to look at me and go, "Yes, that's right." Everyone sort of went, "What?" But then the thing came up, I was like, I'm just going to stick my nose in and tell you my point of view. Again, overtaking is even now a premium, and it's to be enjoyed where it is. And that move, in a way, reminded me slightly of Mansell versus Senna, Ferrari, McLaren, backmarker, Hungary is 89, I imagine, or 90. One of the 2 years is Mansell's in the Ferrari. But basically, that classic move that always comes up in the top 10 overtaking. Mansell overtook Senna with the aid of a backmarker. I'm sure it was these two wheels in an escape road or access road and out of the track. So there's a difference between, as I say, what should be penalised and what does get penalised, and I think that was just a great move, a great overtake. Hamilton had his pit issues, driving angry. You knew he wasn't just going to settle for anything. He was going to get by. That's just what it has, and Rosberg forced the issue. I would have a word with them and say, oi, but I wouldn't penalise them. Hamilton definitely doesn't need penalising. Rosberg maybe for a swerve, have a little talk, but don't penalise. Peter?
Yeah, I think generally where there isn't an opportunity to run safely off the track, then as long as no great advantage is achieved by that, there's plenty of opportunity for people to come back and have another go, especially with the likes of Kurz and DRS there. Yeah. So generally, if it's clean, I think let it stand. I didn't see anything that was really massively unacceptable today. The Rosberg Alonso thing was interesting. It reminded me of Schumacher and Barrichello a few years ago.
No war there though.
But yes, but it's strange because when Schumacher did that to Barrichello, what he was doing there was making one move. And he was perfectly entitled to go over and to keep going. Barrichello thought he won't close the door and found out that he did. I think
that's the thing that's the thing I think is more likely to be penalised is Hamilton overtaking outside the track rather than Rosberg's move to defend. That's what I reckon that's what they're looking at. I think they had Rosberg maybe has more of a case to argue in the Alonso incident, but when it comes to the Hamilton one, I think they're trying to say 4 wheels off the track is illegal and don't do that, because there is a white line now. White line rule doesn't just apply to the exit of the pit lane. We'll see where it comes to. We can't actually. We're just sticking around with the broadcast. It may come up at any moment, but we know the FIA, they're not exactly quick with these things. They'll be investigating for a couple of hours at least, I think, perhaps.
It's one of those hindsight things as well, though. I mean, Rosberg finished ahead of Hamilton in the race, and I don't think Hamilton needed any more in the way of penalties after that. I think that's a good way of settling things after the race, because it means that if no great advantage was ultimately gained, Lewis had his own problems and ends up a long way away from Nico, then that's fine. I think they will let it stand.
Let races be races is your argument. Fair enough. Manish, is there anything else you want to talk about?
I was actually going to make just a quick point.
We're losing people. Should we go around and get people now? Because there's only...
I think we should, Should
we? Then. Can we make your point and we'll walk round? Come on, let's all go on a walk. Come on, Manish, I can keep near you. There's people over on the desk. I'd like to talk to them.
Yeah. I was just saying...
Come back.
About the incidents. There wasn't as if there was a collision. No collisions were caused. So maybe a penalty would have been harsh if it was given.
Yeah. We'll see.
Yes, we'll see.
Right. Hi, we're doing a Martin Bunda. We're running around and potentially podcasting people. Are you happy to talk to us? Are you happy to have an opinion on the 2 potential investigated penalties, Hamilton versus Rosberg and Alonso versus Rosberg? Do you have any opinions on these such things? Should there be a penalty and will there be a penalty? 2 very separate questions in Formula 1, I think. Oh, by the way, hi. Who are you?
I'm Martin. My opinion is it was just a racing incident. I mean, Alonso or was it Hamilton?
Hamilton went wide off the track.
Yeah, they could have went back a bit. I mean, they could have avoided going off the track. It's just, Rosberg has the lead, it has the front, so he can do whatever he likes. He's in control of the track.
It's true. But as I say, you don't think there should be a penalty. Will there be a penalty? Is a different question.
Maybe the second time might be a penalty, but I don't think it will be too serious.
See, that's the thing I just said earlier, is I think what's under investigation the first time is more Hamilton being off the track rather than the defending. Is that more likely to be penalised than actually the one move which is legal? Hi, I'm Paul, and your name is?
Karen.
Karen?
Yeah, I probably agree. It was just a racing incident. I don't think it was anything big. It was just one of the mistakes that you get, really. So if there was a penalty given, I don't think it'd be that serious, to be honest. And if it was, I think it'd be a bit of an overreaction, to be fair.
Yeah, that's the thing. As they say, we don't think, as fans, there should be a penalty. That's racing action. It's what we tune in for. But the FIA usually have a different view. And do you reckon actually they will be more strict than our opinions are?
Yeah, that does seem to usually be the case, that they do give out stricter penalties than we feel they should be given. Yeah.
Do you enjoy the race though, you two?
Yeah, really good race.
First time here?
No, we've been here for every race.
Blimey. Even Australia, which was like 4 a.m, 5 a.m?
Yeah, we had a full English breakfast at 5:30 in the morning.
Wow, brilliant. I should have done that. Coming here drunk would have been the best idea, I don't think. But yes, so you, who was your star of the race?
Was that, sorry?
Your man of the race, the person who stood out for you.
Has to be Romain Grosjean. I mean,
More than Kimi?
Everyone loves Kimi, but it has to be Romain because it's his first time on pole, and first time a Frenchman's been on pole since 1998. So if you think about it, it's a really big achievement. And in whole,
go on, get in there. It's podium, wasn't it? First time he was on the podium.
Podium, yeah.
Close.
Yeah, and Lotus are now the third place team, so it's a really weird season so far. Everything's all mixed up than what it was before. So
that's good though.
Yeah. That's what we like. We don't want it to be all Red Bull or all McLaren or all Ferrari. Yeah. That's what we want. Four different winners in 4 different races. So.
Yeah, that's true. Do you reckon we'll get 5 from 5?
Maybe Kimi can be first next time.
I hope so.
Yeah,
that's a good prediction. Are you going to stick to that, or do you want to come back in 2 weeks' time and think?
Maybe in 2 weeks' time.
Nice. Well, thanks to you. We're over there if you want to drop by and have more opinions. We're just wandering around. Hi, we're Scratch Radio and Formula 1 Fancast. 2 peak ladder. So yeah, thanks for your opinions. We're wandering around, and there's no one else here. We left this too late. Great. We're wandering around the pub. Yeah.
Make a point about the Alonso Rosberg incident. Do you think Rosberg could have allowed Alonso a bit more space?
Well, Lewis Hamilton didn't need more space, did he? He found his own space. I think he made his one move. He went to the inside and he found the white line. But Alonso was less likely to get his tyres dirty than Hamilton. We'll see a few replays in a minute. Maybe we'll catch get another look at it, maybe. But hi, hello. Hi, I'm Paul. Hi. We're Scratch Radio. Do you fancy a chat? I'm doing a Martin bundle. You don't want to chat? No opinions on the collisions. Who do you think should there be a penalty for Hamilton for driving off the track? Should there be a penalty for Hamilton for driving off the track? No, good. See, not everyone wants to talk to the radio. We understand. I'm doing a Martin bundle, but I think the opinion is almost 100% no penalty.
Yeah.
Hi. Do you fancy talking to the radio? I shouldn't ask that because people get a chance to say no. Hi.
We've been talking about our other work.
Oh. Well, okay. Anyone watch the Grand Prix?
I did.
Oh, hi. I'll talk to you then. Not talk to you. I don't like you. Oh, you carry on with your homework. Hi, I'm Paul. Who are you?
Nice to meet you. I'm Gail.
Gail. And yes, a particular fan of any driver?
I'm a fan of a team. I work for a Mercedes team.
You work for Mercedes?
Yes, so obviously I'm a fan of him.
Let's become his best friend. He might get us a cap.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're a fan of Mercedes, so you were much happier last weekend?
Yes. It was a great race this week, though.
And have you met any of the drivers or any of the people we see on TV?
Yes, well, I've met our drivers, yes. Yes, and they were much happier than last week. Certainly Nico was.
Even Michael, because he didn't have the best race.
Nico.
So then, the main question we're just running around asking at the moment is actually about your Nico. Should he be penalised for what happened with Hamilton and Alonso, or is the investigation more that Hamilton drove off the track? And there's many questions you can answer here, because Formula 1 fans, it seems we've got an opinion of people walking around, almost 100% no penalty we think, but do you think the FIA agree with that and actually give a penalty? The question is, I'm waffling, sorry. Should there be a penalty and will there be a penalty? Two very different questions.
Well, the second question we can't really answer because it's the stewards, but I think from the angle we saw, we have to be a bit cautious because obviously it sort of like squashed the perspective, but it looks like whenever Nico pulled over, he was always in front of a car behind it, and because it's a straight, there's no reason why you can't use all the racing line.
That's exactly what we've been saying, and we think it's more likely that Lewis is going to get a penalty for driving off the track.
Well, I don't think you get a penalty for driving yourself off the track, really. It's when you ram into someone else that you get into trouble.
I don't know, I think the white line may come into... because you're supposed to stick within the track limits at all times, including the curbs on that, and they never really penalise that. But we'll see. People say there's a conspiracy theory to get Lewis penalty whenever he can, but so you think absolutely 100% no penalties?
Well, I was more thinking that Nico might get penalised, but I don't think it will be the case, and I don't think Lewis will get penalised either.
Or Fernando even.
Or Fernando, no. Yeah.
Okay, so who was your star of the race? I guess you're just going to say the Mercedes team. If you can see us sort of more unbiased, who was your favourite driver, favourite team in that race?
I guess it's got to go to Lotus because I think they achieved a fantastic result there. So it's good to see them really fighting for it and competitive, yeah.
And as someone who works for Mercedes, are they your number one rival at the moment?
Sorry?
Since you work for Mercedes, speaking with your Mercedes hat on, oh hi, he's stood up with me. Hello, I should come down. I should get a seat. Yes, our Lotus became sort of like you and Mercedes are the teams that are like bubbling under the top, the front runners. Our Lotus Mercedes number one target at the moment.
Yes, it is. Yeah, I would say even more than that. I think McLaren, Ferrari, and Red Bull are number one target. I think what the aim is, instead of having like 2-3 teams running away with the championships, is to have everybody within a handful of points, and then within that the best one will win.
That is the ideal. Yeah.
It would be a lot better. Yeah, I think if we could all be within like 20 points of each other at the end of the season and fight it in the last race.
Brilliant. And you've had a good time today?
Yeah, it was fantastic. Yeah,
you dragged your friends here.
Yeah.
Didn't they win the competition?
Yes, yeah. He won the competition. That was,
she didn't even like. Well, I'm having that bag. She won the competition. You win the competition, didn't you?
Hello.
Hi. You won the.
I did. Yeah, it's somewhere here. There you go.
And do you like Formula One, or you just been dragged here?
I do like Formula One, but that's the guy that you need to talk to.
So who's going to be actually enjoying the raffle prize?
Well, I'm hoping to give it away to somebody.
She doesn't even want the raffle. I want the raffle prize. But you've had a good time here today, or you've just been dragged here?
Say it again.
You've had a good time.
I have indeed. Yes, I have. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, absolutely.
Will you be back?
Sorry?
Will you come back here?
Yeah, definitely.
Bring your friends. Bring Mercedes. We can have Mercedes here. We can have Red Bull over there.
It's brilliant.
Well, it's not me. It's them actually. I'm podcasting. But yeah, this is Scratch Radio. But yeah, nice to meet you. I'm Paul.
Good to meet you. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, we're doing Manish. Manish is going to go and give him contact. Oh, and you're leaving us.
Yes, I'm afraid I'm having to. I have to go and run to get a train.
Okay, or meds.
Living out in the sticks when I do is hard.
Where's the sticks?
It's over in Worcestershire. So.
Oh, no F1inPubs Worcester.
I could do, but I like coming here.
I've just done a quick straw poll. Everyone's happy, even though the prize went to a non-Formula One fan, so not happy about that. But yeah, nice. So any final thoughts on the race, and what do you expect from Spain?
I thought it was an absolutely fantastic race. It was great to see Lotus do such a good turnaround. I mean, they were fighting for this race, you could see. Yeah. And what a result to come on. I mean, I had no idea what's going on with Hamilton and Button. I mean, Button's car seemed slow. Yes. Something was going on there pretty badly. And with Hamilton's 2 pit stops to have such... I mean,
I think all 3 had issues.
Yeah, whether coincidence or bad pit stops going on there, but there was some... You could see the guy throw his gun down on the floor with out of aggravation. Seemed ironic as well with the China one, of course, as well, with what happened. So I think
someone's going to get fired, I think.
Yeah, well, they could well do with that one, unlike with Schumacher's one, where Schumacher seemed to be fairly happy with everybody at the end of it. But with Hamilton, I don't know. We'll see what happens in Spain.
It's more fun as a fan, though, when Lewis drives angry. You get moves like you did with Rosberg. So, yeah, well, thank you. Hopefully, I won't delay your train. Nice to see you.
Look forward to listening to your podcast.
Oh, yes. It's all in the editing, which is make it rubbish. But, all right, yes, so we just left. I should have done this earlier because a lot of people have gone.
Yeah, well, you're welcome to come along next time and go around before the start of the Spanish Grand Prix, perhaps.
Oh yeah, beforehand. That's a good point, actually. But yeah, we've got a Mercedes contingent here. Did you know that?
We certainly do. Yes, from Brixworth. So
how happy was he last week?
Very, very. No, it's great. I mean, it's great to see people turning out and coming out for events like this and coming from
It's a bit more casual fans turning up when there's light outside, like us.
Certainly a lot more helpful when it's in the middle of the day and sociable.
Yeah, wait till Canada, see how many people turn up then.
That will be fun, actually. Yeah. It will.
That will be a prime time race. I don't know if BBC are showing that one live as well. Which coverage did you watch last week? Is this an exclusive Sky thing?
No, we did have a bit of a vote, and then we eventually voted to start with the BBC and finish with Sky and switch over halfway through the race.
See, I want the onboards basically. There's enough TVs here. I want Sky put out different feeds, pit lane channel if you want to hear drivers swearing.
We'll look into that for next time round.
If GP2 wasn't so damn early, we could get that on as well. Do they replay that now, actually? I might sit here. I might sit around and see if they put it on. But yeah, so thank you for organising this, our loyal representative of Birmingham.
Real pleasure, and we, I'm getting lots of people who are really interested in coming along.
How many followers have you got on Twitter at the minute?
Something like 200, I think, which is nice and good.
Two-month thing, then yeah. 2 months has been pretty good.
So the point I'd make is that we aim to show all of the races live and free. It's all free to turn up. You don't have to register. It's nice for us nice to know you're coming and everything, but a great crowd, as you've no doubt heard, and food and drink available, and
I'm sure this won't last long before Bernie turns up and makes you charge for the trademark.
Fortunately, because it's all a fan initiative, we've done our due diligence on that.
Do you use his logo when you're on the website? No. You have thought about it. Who's the lawyer involved? It's got to be a bit. Yeah, so we are all fans, but sometimes we get punished for that by the powers that be. But oh well. How long have you got left? Because we've got one more question to ask. It may take a while to answer. Right, sit down. Manish, you can take the lead first. Okay, yeah, just say goodbye. We'll start and talk, and we'll talk you back in. I'm liking the live aspect of this. It's gonna be hard for you to edit, so But this is a personality-led Formula One experience, and if you don't like my personality, then I'm sure I'll listen to your YouTube comments. Anyway. Well, it's one more. Right, sum up the race. Come on, sum up the race, and then we've got one more important question to ask that is probably the most important.
Sum up the race. Sebastian Vettel more or less ran away with it, although he was made to work hard by both Lotus drivers, which was great to see. But nonetheless, Vettel went on to win the race. Great result for Lotus. Absolutely fantastic result. Strong result as well. Great to see Grosjean on the podium. And Grosjean, you have to say, he was thrown in at the deep end in 2009, especially when he had to replace Nelson Piquet Jr. But last year, he's won the GP2 Championship. He's come back with the experience. And
that's the point, actually. Do you reckon if Nelson Piquet had been a more, hadn't been so bad, and then fell out with the team with the whole Crashgate thing, do you reckon Grosjean would have been rushed in in 2009, or he was actually, they were aiming for 2010, but because they fell out with Piquet, they had to rush him forwards when he wasn't ready?
I think so. I think with Nelson Piquet Jr., I don't really think he had the experience to take on, being no offence to him, but he's doing but NASCAR's a totally different league.
Don't you start with this? We can argue this all night.
But no, seriously, about Roman Grosjean, I think he's come on leaps and bounds. Winning the GP2 Championship last year will have given him so much confidence, coming into the season, and he did an absolutely great job today. Let's not forget Kimi Raikkonen.
Don't forget Kimi Raikkonen, fantastic second place, and it's a little yaboo sucks to Michael Schumacher that I can have a short break and come back and perform and get a competitive result. Up yours, Michael. I might edit that bit out. I used that term. But Well, I've got to try and I'm good with the tone because I've really got to go. I'm trying to go to a serious point now, which is that we've obviously watched a great Grand Prix. It bubbled under. It was sort of the opposite of China. China sort of was a slow burner and gradually got more exciting. Bahrain was more exciting towards the start and then gradually fizzled out, but still better than probably most races in the refuelling era, I'll tell you that much. I seem to have a real anger towards the refuelling era, how much it blighted Formula 1. But anyway, we're in Bahrain, we can't ignore this. There's been more going on than just cars racing around the track. The question now is, even in hindsight, the race is over. Has it been good for Formula 1's image? Has it been a good idea to stage this race in such a politically, let's think of the right term, politically active and demonstrative country where there's more going on, and people, whichever side they're on, are using Formula 1 as a weapon to attack the other side. It's a really long rambling question. I think I'll just shorten it down to, should we have been in Bahrain this weekend? And Peter, first. No pressure. You had enough time to think while I was asking the question. So
of course. No, I think with hindsight we should have adopted the same strategy as last year. Bahrain's having its own issues, and Formula 1 shouldn't be barging in. Formula 1 is perfectly capable of holding its own race within its own bubble.
Yeah.
And they could hold it anyway. They could hold a race in Syria, but it doesn't send the right message. And
just because they can hold a race, should they hold a race?
Exactly. Yeah, they're perfectly capable of holding it, and from what I can see, it's passed off without incident within that circuit. So the product that they are selling has been delivered.
We've been sitting here, though, watching Formula 1 pictures, and the thing is, Formula 1 controls its own pictures. It's not like football where ITV or BBC turn up and film it. Is there more going on than we're being shown? We'll probably find out when we get home and turn our computers, actually. So if we've missed a big event, we apologise. But yeah, sorry to cut you off there. Carry on.
No, not at all. I mean, really, the question. The question is, should we be going to any states where there is this kind of amount of civil unrest, and where, as you say, the Formula 1 is being used as a bit of a political football and is being kicked around? We shouldn't be there. I was there myself a couple of months ago.
Oh, really?
And it was an uneasy atmosphere at that point. And so really what this does is it has promoted the interests of the protesters in Bahrain, which is potentially a good thing. But what it's done for Formula 1 is it's shown it to be a rather amoral organisation for ignoring that.
It feels like we're in the pocket of the royal family, basically.
And
such.
Yeah, the problem is really the perception of Formula 1, and from people who don't watch Formula 1, they now think that it's an organisation that doesn't care about these issues.
Manish?
I totally agree with what Peter said. When you see people getting killed, sport is totally irrelevant. And I think Formula 1, to be honest with you, made a mistake going to Bahrain. Hindsight is a beautiful thing, and we can say that the race, okay, it was a good race, we enjoyed it, but at the end of the day, when there's civil unrest, when people are getting killed, should Formula 1 be in Bahrain? I don't think so. I really don't.
And it'll be interesting to see what happens next year and see if this race stays on the calendar or not. Because don't forget, we have had countries lose their race by something minor of having the wrong person on the podium. And that apparently is a political statement that is Formula 1 tries to stay away from. That sort of thing. This is why we're not going to Turkey this year, apparently. This happened during the first Turkish race and they finally ran out of the contract. But I agree with both of you. And it seems a bit ungrateful that we just watched a great race in a lovely location and we just had a great time, and then we're saying we shouldn't have done it, and it's a bit too late now. It's like, oh wow, if you loved it, if you believe that much, why did you turn up, why didn't you boycott it? But us not watching is not going to change anything. The fact is the race is happening. It's not going to change the world if we're not here watching, so sadly. But yeah, you're right, I agree. The only people, it's a simplistic view, but in my view the only people who should be risking their lives for this sport are the drivers, and in this weekend you had the whole entire paddock under threat of not, the protests that were there weren't directly targeted at the race, but sometimes, as we learned before India, we got caught up in other people's incidents. And that's probably another point I'd like to make, how petty the TV broadcasters were about the whole Force India situation. They pulled out of practice as a safety concern because they're concerned about the morale of their own team after an incident had happened that wasn't targeted at them, but they were caught up in it. And they pulled out of practice so they could get home at hours of darkness. Whatever you say about that, they're thinking about their personnel first, and they're thinking their team before the sport. And obviously the TV broadcasters and then the FIA themselves didn't like that idea, and they punished them with a blackout of them in qualifying. They were around during the race, but I think in a kind of token, look, we're showing them way, rather than any kind of, okay, Paul di Resta got a good finish and was shown on TV, so maybe that was just a small punishment, a threat to... But then there was rumours before the race, which we probably should comment on, that Force India wouldn't finish the race. They'd do about half and go, or if they weren't up for a good finish, which they probably were. Did that convince them to stay more than anything else? But there were rumours that we're going to get a bit of a minor Indy 2005 where some of the lower league teams might pull out, but that didn't happen. So obviously the teams are convinced of the safety. But as I say, when you go to a country like that, when there is, whichever side you're on, there is issues, turmoils, you make your sport a target as a mouthpiece, and they use you to further their own agendas on it, whichever side you're talking about. And Formula One, as I say, is supposed to be an unpolitical. The only politics we deal with is whether should there be a DRS rear ring on the Mercedes or not, or should there be a blown diffuser or whatnot. No, but when it comes to serious politics where people are dying, we're putting ourselves in the middle of that. And why? So there can be more billions pumped in by a sheikh to the race organisers. Is that really, have we changed the world by going? But Bernie's argument was, would cancelling the race change things? No, but does having the race change things either, while putting your personnel in the spotlight and danger? I don't know how the sport's reputation will recover from this, but it's a fast-moving sport and things move on quickly. That's the thing, we're only there for one weekend a year, and yes, we've brought a big spotlight on the troubles, and now we're packing up Starship Enterprise, warping out, we don't care what the mess we've left. So, as I say, it's been a great weekend, but it shouldn't have happened. Do we agree with that? Is that sort of how we're summing this up?
Yeah, I think it shouldn't have happened, and it shouldn't have been scheduled into the calendar until the situation was a good deal more stable, and there wasn't this risk of people being hurt. I agree that once we got into the situation where the freight was on its way there,
there was a backup plan. Freight could have been routed to Spain via somewhere else as well. They did have a plan B just in case. All teams had.
Yes, but by the time everybody had arrived, it would have created even more of a furore if they'd started pulling out.
Well, yeah, they're saying this because we only carried on with the race because of freight.
No, not at all. No, but I mean, once everybody started going there, and especially once you've got journalists and folk turning up there, to cancel the race then would create even bigger impact in itself. So it's a tough call, but yeah, I still believe that they should leave well be and not be the ghosts at the feast, really.
Oh, that's good. I don't know what that means. I'll have to ask for that definition later. I'll Google that one if you don't know it. But thank you very much. Anyway, Peter, it's been a great. I'm sure we'll enjoy many afternoons here in less politically turmoil times. In just normal races, we can have a moan about it being rubbish on TV, or excite probably the way 2012 is going. I mean, we can end this by looking forwards. We think 2012 is going to be a classic season. Manish?
I think so. 4 races, 4 different winners. You can't ask for any better than that. Neutral will be loving that.
I'm always cautious because do you remember 2002 when it was very exciting? Michael Schumacher won a crazy race in Australia. Ralf Schumacher won a crazy race in Malaysia, and then Michael Schumacher just held off Ralf in a crazy race in Brazil. And we thought this is going to be a great season because we've got Williams and Ferrari and McLaren all fighting. And then they got to Europe, and Bridgestone and Ferrari came to the fore for every single race they're on.
But you say that, right?
Yeah. I'm always saying that.
Yeah.
I'm always a pessimist.
The big teams are going to be right up there, obviously.
Yeah.
But you look at how tightly congested that midfield is.
True.
I mean, and even if Vettel goes on to win next 10 races or something. Yeah. We're still going to be intrigued by the battle behind the Red Bull. So you look at Sauber in Malaysia. Perez finished second.
Yeah.
Great result. Today, Grosjean and Raikkonen, second and third on the podium. Absolutely brilliant. And Rosberg, let's not forget, winning last week in China.
Yeah.
So that midfield is very close together. And also, let's not forget one final point today. Paul Di Resta, strong result for him. He was able to make his 2-stop strategy work, whereas others made 3 stops. So well done to Paul, and some consolation for Force India from the weekend.
That's true, and the thing that strikes me, as you said, if this is Sebastian Vettel finally getting his 2012 in gear, how stupid have McLaren been by squandering these 3 chances they've been given? They could have built up a points lead with Button or Hamilton. They won the first race, they should have won the second, despite them not being able to overtake Perez and Alonso in the wet, which was surprising considering the relative speed of the cars. If this is Red Bull finally now on form, and that's still a big question mark with the way the season's going, McLaren have squandered the early race opportunity to get a lead, but you say 2012 you can't predict anything. So
I think this weekend you can see it as an off weekend for McLaren.
I hope so.
But I would honestly expect McLaren to be right up there in Spain.
It's going to be hotter, and that's going to change things tyres-wise. So yes, we've tried to wrap this up with final questions about 4 times now, so we'll stop thinking of more interesting things to say. It's about 40 minutes. It's going to be too long for people to download. So yeah, thank you to Peter from @F1inPubs. And follow @F1inPubs if you want to find, Scratch broadcasts worldwide, so if you're not from the local area, you can find one close to you, hopefully. And Manish, this is Formula 1 Fancast, so you can follow that too, I imagine. But you can also follow @Scratch Radio, @Scratch Sport, and @Paul Hadsley. I'm just going to name every single Twitter thing I can. And I think that's covered everything. And it's been a fantastic afternoon, and thank you to F1inPubs for that. And Scratch Radio hopefully will have some sort of presence at everyone from now on. I'm hoping if we're welcome. So thank you guys, and I'll see you in Spain. Not literally, we'll be in Birmingham.